All right, second grade, we are preparing for our green screen presentations of our wax museum. When the wax museum day comes, people are going to be able to physically push on your button and listen to your presentation. But I know you have friends and family that are far away. So using a green screen, we can put you in front of an image of where your wax museum subject would visit, and then you can present your speech to them. That way, anybody across the country or across the world can see you in your final project presentation. But here's the deal. Using a green screen is not easy as it sounds. So we've made a list of do's and don'ts so that your green screen experience can be as effective as possible. To make our green screens, we are going to be using Google Drawings. Now, you have used Google Drawings in the past, so a lot of these formatting tools are tools that you're used to. For example, when you click on the Insert tab, then you can create images for a background. Now, when you're picking a background image, one thing you definitely want to do is search for an image from the web tool to find something that shows where your subject would have spent their time. If I'm studying Walt Disney, chances are he would spend a lot of his time at the Disney studio, or maybe Disneyland. If I'm going to study Walt Disney, putting him in front of an image of Legoland wouldn't make sense. I want to be able to show the people who are watching my presentation that my person is standing in front of a place that's near and dear to them. Which brings us to our first don't. Don't choose an image that your research subject would never visit. Even if you love elephants like I do, it wouldn't make sense for what we've learned about Walt Disney for him to stand in front of elephants in a safari. If you know a lot about Disney, you'll be able to figure out the perfect image for his background. And then that way your audience can better understand your presentation. They won't be as confused. Next, definitely add some details and characters that your person would enjoy being around. For example, if I'm studying Walt Disney, the creator of Mickey Mouse, then Mickey Mouse should spend his time with Walt Disney during his presentation. Or Tinkerbell should fly in. These are details that really show that I know who Walt Disney is and some of the things that he created. On the flip side, you do not want to add too many images to your background. Here's the deal, second grade. We have something called working memory. And when people are watching your presentation, their working memory has to work very hard to learn all of the new details that you're teaching them. But if you overload your background with Elsa, the genie, Snow White, a poster, then their working memory isn't going to focus on the information that they need to know about Walt Disney. Instead, their working memory is going to focus on all of these images in the background. They'll be too distracted to hear what you've been working on, and all of that hard work that you've had for the past couple of months would have totally gone to waste. So now let's go back to that first image where we just have a few details. Make sure that when you have a few details, you move them off to the side, creating an empty space, because you want to set aside room for yourself to stand in front of the green screen. If you stand in front of images that are behind you, then nobody can see the stuff that's behind you. For example, if we go back to our last image, you're going to have to stand somewhere. Why put in a picture of Elsa or Snow White if you just have to stand in front of them and block the view? Make sure that you leave a space for yourself so that people know exactly where you're supposed to stand. Now, a wax museum is nothing without an interesting pose. So use your green screen to mark a great pose. If I'm Walt Disney, a talented illustrator, then maybe I want to leave a pencil hanging in the air for me to grab on the green screen. That way, that'll help me with my pose, the same pose that I'll do during my real life presentation. But if my backdrop isn't good for my pose, my presentation won't make any sense. If I have a roller coaster behind me, are you telling me that Walt Disney is floating in the air? What does that have to do with his pose? How does that make sense for his entire presentation? Having Walt Disney hang in the air in front of a roller coaster doesn't tell me that you've learned much about Walt Disney. Maybe just that you really like roller coasters. Here are some do or don'ts to help you with your green screen project. Now, to recap, remember, you want to choose images that fit your person and show all that you've learned about them. But be careful. Sometimes we get so excited about learning what we know that we can overload the brains of our audience members. You want to make sure that they understand what you're teaching them, not all the flash and the pictures in the background. So good luck, second grade.